Hi there, this is Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah, reporting live from the Sheraton Gateway in Los Angeles at the Digital Footprint Conference, and I have one of the very special speakers here today. He is the founder of UGG Boots, and everybody I know has UGG Boots. Our family has like 4 pair.
Yeah, that's great.
But thank you for joining me for just a little bit of a chat.
My pleasure, yeah.
Yeah. So where are you living right now?
Down in San Diego, Encinitas.
Okay. And that's a little ways from Australia.
It's, but it's the closest thing to Australia. There's more eucalyptus trees in where I live than there I remember from home. But very beachy, very, relaxed and laid back. So it's as close as you can get to Australia as anywhere.
Beautiful. So what would you say 3 things that you would tell someone who wants to be just like you, who wants to found $1 billion product? What would you tell them to do? Go home or?
No. Well, you can't start $1 billion company, because you can start $1 million company and $100 million company, but to get to the billions, you need a whole societal shift. And Nike had jogging, Reebok had aerobics, UGG had Oprah. When we got her on Oprah, she was like our societal shift, and that took it into the billions. But the critical thing is start, because if you don't start, nothing will happen. Mm-hmm. And there's a great saying that if you get moving on a path, that the universe will conspire to work with you. And what that means in real terms is that the universe is perfect. Everything you could possibly want on this planet exists already. It's there, but until you start, you're not going to find it. Now, I use this example. When was the last time you saw an advertisement for a refrigerator?
About a month ago.
Yeah, most people can't remember. And the reason is because they don't need one. But if you needed a refrigerator this weekend, you'd find ads everywhere. You'd see them on TV and windows, you'd see them in newspapers, and that's because you've started on a path, and suddenly the universe makes itself aware to you. Okay. And that's like any business that you want to start, or it doesn't have to even be a business. Let's say it's a movement or a new religion or whatever. Take the first steps, and then all of these things that are going to help you come into your awareness.
So it's like starting with a desire, knowing that you want something, and
even it doesn't have to be fixed. It's just having a desire, because it'll keep solidifying and changing as you go forward.
Right. So what was your original idea for the boot?
I was sort of lucky. I came here looking for a business to take back to Australia, and didn't ever think I'd stay in America. But I realized after a few months there's no sheepskin footwear in America, and 1 in 2 Australians had some. So I started importing it, thinking I would be instantly, successful. Right. But Americans didn't understand sheepskin like Australians do. Right. So it became a very, very long process. I ran that business for 17 years before I successfully sold it off, and then the new owners sort of worked on the Oprah connection that I just made, and eventually it went into the billions. Right.
So it sounds like another thing to say to anyone starting out is don't expect it to be an overnight.
Well, my theme of, I wrote a book called The Birth of a Brand. I think it's on Amazon. It's a great book for entrepreneurs, especially starting entrepreneurs.
Right.
And the theme of it is you can't give birth to adults, right? Every business or movement or whatever starts with conception and then the first action, which is like the birth. So the birth of UGG was me buying some samples, right?
Got it.
And then it just lies there, and there's no amount of urging it or overfeeding it or shaking the cradle. It can't get up and go to college. It has to be an infant. And unfortunately, that's when most entrepreneurs starting out give up, because they don't see any action, and they get sick of nurturing it. Right, but if you want to get to the toddling stage, you have to do that. And toddling's great because you get a little action, or people are writing articles about your business, and first users are just telling their friends. That's great, and that goes into youth, which is a fantastic phase of every business. And if it's a really good service or product, it'll hit the teenage phase, like UGG did. And that's a crazy period, because you want to be bigger than you really are, and you can't afford to, and so it's a super dangerous phase, and then it become mature, and it's a very normal cycle. And then even within an existing company that's been around 20 years, you still have that same problem if you want to introduce new ideas in the company, or new, you have to do the same thing.
Start over with
conception, birth, and so it never really stops.
Right. What a great analogy, right? Never even thought of that. That's brilliant. And you can get that book anywhere at Amazon?
On Amazon, The Birth of a Brand.
The Birth of a Brand.
And it's a really, really good roadmap for entrepreneurs.
Fabulous. Well, I am just so delighted to have gotten you aside to spend a couple of minutes. And just one last question. What is your life motto? Like mine's don't die wondering. Right. So what do you use to live?
To leave the planet better off than I found it.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's Emerson. I love that.
Is it really? Yeah. I didn't know that. I've thought that since I was 16 years old.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. I think it's like to leave the world a better place than you found it, to know that one person has breathed easier because you've lived. Cool. That's definitely mine. I lied. One last question. I usually do this on the show, and between our schedules, we haven't been able to make it work. So I'm glad I got to steal you here. Okay. Who are you grateful to that helped you bring you where you are?
Oh, the answer to that is really interesting. All the people that hurt me along the way, because and they didn't do it maliciously. Sometimes it was, but mostly it wasn't. But they have different ideas and different ways of doing things that hurt me when I was forced to let go or change. And the reason I'm grateful to them is because I have had to overcome that disappointment and fear and I've grown a lot through that. And now I look back on all of those people I thought were real mean and hurtful, and they were just living their lives according to their values, and they weren't even aware that they were hurting me, and so I've become much more relaxed in judging people, and especially previous investors or people that I met in business who took advantage of me. They didn't even know it. They were just selfishly and unaware.
Wow.
And so I've come to let all that go.
That's forgiveness.
It is. I get it is, and that's where peace comes from. Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea. It's brilliant. I mean, I preach this kind of message on my show. Really? Yeah, so it's kind of funny. I did not prime him at all. But the last thing we do at the end of every show is look in the camera and say,
I saw that.
Peace in.
Peace in.
And peace out.
Peace out.
Yes.
What a great interview.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, that was awesome. I had no idea.